So this is, in fact, a True School Sports special report, and I am not thrilled to talk about this, but I got to talk about it. It's part of the job. It's what's happening right now in the fight game. So I was really excited to see Stephen Fulton back in the ring this weekend, against Liam Wilson. It was supposed to be a WBA super featherweight eliminator, right? This is coming off the heels of Stephen Fulton's absolute debacle against O'Shaquie Foster, where he blew weight and blew his chance at history of becoming Philadelphia's first three-division champion, and quite possibly putting himself in a Hall of Fame trajectory if he would have won that fight. Then he promptly got shut out by O'Shaquie Foster and looked like a shell of himself, right? And so I was hopeful. I was hoping that maybe Stephen Fulton, being the proud champion that I know he is, would pick himself up and really and truthfully just rebound. This is a fight that's big for his career. Backs against the wall. Stock is at an all-time low, and PBC was shipping him and Earl Spence over there to Australia as the B-side guys, right? And it's unfortunate to report that, first and foremost, the fight was supposed to be at the super featherweight limit of 130 pounds. They did Stephen Fulton a solid, the same way they did Earl Spence a solid for Tim Tszyu, and they moved the contracted weights up a couple pounds. They gave Spence 2 pounds from 158 to 160 versus Tim Tszyu, and they gave Fulton 3 pounds from 130 to 133 pounds for Liam Wilson. And generally speaking, if you're trying your hardest to make the weight, 3 pounds should be more than enough to make the weight quite comfortably. And even then, Stephen Fulton could not make the weight, as it was reported within the last hour or so that Stephen Fulton came in at 139.5 pounds. Yes, Stephen Fulton, guys, basically came into on the scale today for a super featherweight fight at the junior welterweight limit, damn near, because 140 is the junior welterweight limit, right? And 100, he's 139.5. He's only half a pound off. So it confirms all the suspicions I did have, all the skepticism I did have about Stephen Fulton, the fact that I do think he was unserious, and I don't think he's been taking boxing serious because I was there in San Antonio when he fought Shock Foster, and I was very disappointed to see him throw away his chance at history and self-sabotaging himself. I hate seeing people that I know are genuinely great in life self-sabotage, because I've done that in my own life sometimes. So I hate when I see other people do it that I think highly of, and I do think highly of Stephen Fulton. I think he's an awesome fighter. But it's clear to see, and it's clear as day to anybody who's honest about the situation, that Stephen Fulton is his heart's not in it. His heart is not in it anymore. Credit to him. He did beat Brandon Figueroa to become champion again after he got stopped by Inoue. But for the most part, he's never really fully been able to recapture the form he had, before Inoue. So my thing is, I think Stephen Fulton, this is how it's gonna go from. And I'm not judge, jury, executioner. I'm not God, right? I'm not perfect, of course. But if Stephen Fulton continues to box and he wants to continue blowing up in weight and not looking after himself the way he needs to, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to Stephen Fulton. He's going to hover around 135 and 140, right? He's going to move up there because he doesn't have the discipline or the wherewithal to get down to the weight classes he could actually compete in. And he's going to be used as a Gervonta Davis opponent. I can see it right now. Tank Davis versus Stephen Fulton. And whatever's going to happen in that fight is going to happen in that fight. But that's how I kind of see it. Either he's going to retire or he's going to progressively become a guy that will be used as a Gervonta Davis opponent. And what's going to happen in that fight is going to happen in that fight. So I hate to see it. I really hate to see it for Stephen Fulton because, this is a guy that I advocated for, before he fought Inoue. I remember a lot of people said, oh, BT, Stephen Fulton should not be in the pound list. And I'm like, yes, he should. He went through the gauntlet. He beat a lot of undefeated fighters. He took on a lot of real smoke, and I recognize him for that. But, he's not that guy anymore. He's not the guy that fought, Angelo Leo or Adam Lopez or Arnold K. Guy or Isaac Avalar or any of those, Danny Roman. He's not that version of Stephen Fulton. That guy, unfortunately, hate to say it because, who am I? But there's truth in quantity. Okay, you miss weight one time, have a shitty performance, I can understand it. But now, you just have this I don't care attitude towards boxing, and you're missing weight 2 times, and the second time you're missing weight is progressively worse than, the first time. Come on, man. it's disgraceful on his end, and he's better than that. Stephen Fulton is better than that, and I know he's got more pride than that. So obviously, we don't know what's going on with him outside the ring. It's not my business. It's not your business. But obviously, those things I think are playing a role. He's made light of some of ththose things, but this is inexcusable, and it continues this trend in boxing of guys missing weight. Stephen Fulton, Rais Salim, Keyshawn Davis had some problems making weight too. So it's just like, who else? I mean, a lot of guys in the fight game recently just been missing a lot of weight, and you hate to see it. It's not cool when anybody does this. It wasn't cool when Dave Benavidez lost his title on the scale. It's not cool when people start losing their title on the scale. And not even just that. It's also like, it's not even about losing your title on the scale, even though there's no title on the line. For this fight, you lose your reputation because when you negotiate a fight and you sign a contract, that's your word. And what did Scarface say all those years ago in the movie? He said, all you have in this world as a man is your word and your balls. So it's not a good look. No matter how you want to spin it, you can say, oh, well, he had a bad weight cut. But my thing is, you didn't even try cutting weight. You missed weight by almost 10 pounds, a whole like 2 weight classes above where you're supposed to fight. So you can't even say he really tried to cut weight. He didn't even put in the effort. You could say that, he has personal issues, but we all have personal issues, right? At the end of the day, you gotta, if you sign a contract, you gotta honor that contract, and you gotta be a professional. Look at a guy like Jaron Ennis, right? Great, awesome fighter. Definitely one of the best fighters in the world right now, pound for pound. And he's one of Stephen Fulton's best friends. Look at him. He was massive for 147 pounds. And he's told stories about having to run, 7-8 miles a day just to, cut the last couple of ounces off his body so he can make the weight. And those are the things you got to do. Look at someone like Devin Haney. He's never missed weight, There's so many guys. Bam Rodriguez, to me, isn't a small guy for the weight class he fights, and he finds a way to cut the proper weight and make the weight properly. So if you're going to sign a contract, you got to honor it. And, even if he were to, even if Stephen Fulton does beat Liam Wilson, it's going to taint the win. In my opinion, it will taint the win because you came in at the damn junior welterweight limit. So you should just go fight Richardson Hitchens or not Hitchens. Go fight Shakur. Shakur's a 140 pounder. Go fight Shakur Stevenson. Go fight Tank. Those are the kind of. Go fight Dalton Smith. Those are the kind of options that are in play for Stephen Fulton because he was having a hard time making featherweight from his first fight against Carlos Castro. Didn't make 130 in his only fight there against Foster, and now he's not even fighting at 130. So I mean, what is Stephen Fulton's career? I'm not trying to put him down, but it's just like, you got to call it out for what it is. He's dropping the ball, and he's self-sabotaging his career. So my thing is this, man. If you're going to self-sabotage over and over again, save yourself the trouble. Just be honest. Like, do you really want this? I don't think Stephen Fulton really wants to pursue a career in boxing anymore as a fighter, and that's okay. That's okay because, time runs its course, and you had a great, fantastic career. You were world champion multiple times, unified. Came back, even when people left you in the dumps. Even when people left Stephen Fulton in the dumps after the NOA fight, he still became champion again. So he's proven enough. Like, you don't want it anymore. Go enjoy the fruits of your labor. Go enjoy, all the great things you have in your life. And yeah, you don't want this anymore. And I hate to be, I'm not that guy. Like, who am I to tell a guy like Stephen Fulton, true warrior of the sport, when he should retire? But it's just like, I think you're telling the world that you want to retire with your own actions. So I'll just leave it at that. We'll see what happens.